Let's see if we can set this up. Oh, whoopsie doodle. I forgot about the music. Not that. Alright, we should be ready to go. Should have done that off stream. Hello, people. Oh, looks like they caught up. Okay, so we got Eel versus Dazan. Bit of background, we're doing the 12 Duels. This is the Underworld. I don't believe I have the bracket available, but it is Eel versus Dazan. Interesting matchup. Also, both of these are people I killed, so be interesting to see. I don't know, I feel personally responsible for this. Eel, of course, is the developer of the game now. Well, one of them, but he's the guy carrying it forward. And Zon has no such responsibilities, but he is the guy who helped me set my stream up with 60 FPS and a higher bit rate. So there is that. Alright then, so Eel versus Zon. We're just going to go right into it. Squirrel, mole, snake, owl, mine, balloon for Eel, who's up in the north playing as Archimedes, against Zon with squirrel, pigeon, falcon, chameleon, snake, mine down in the, I guess you call it, southwest. Eel as Seed 1 got to choose his opponent. He picked Zon. I guess that makes sense. No offense to Zon. Zon is a good player, but if I had to choose between Zon and Eris, I would probably pick Zon. Although Eris is going to have to be faced sooner or later. Okay, so what I'm finding interesting about Zon's deck is, well, first of all, the 3 tier 2. Second of all, the no tier 3. But another interesting thing between both decks is that there are no skunks. The closest to anti-tier 1 is Zon's chameleons. Now, in regards to late game and tier 3, Eel doesn't have the best base, but it's not unusable. He's got access to a lot of mills, he just has to secure them. And he looks like he wants to be doing that now, coming in with some squirrels while taking this base on the high ground. If he can get that base, he can start setting up balloons. And he's going to cut off this base and this base from Zon. He's taking this base so he can go back to this base later. Zon, Eel is wanting to take this game as long as possible with his owls. Alright. So we're seeing chameleons coming out for Zon. Eel is already teched up with his snakes. There were a couple of skirmishes, but it was mainly just squirrels walking into mines, so nothing too fancy at the moment. Eel has really got to be careful. If Zon sniffs out that... The snakes are actually going to be pretty good at killing Zon's tier 2 based army. But if Zon just decides to start massing up tier 1... Oh, never mind. A fight happens. Zon baits in Eel's army by threatening to go for the mill. And hits really hard, blindsiding the snakes, killing one of them immediately. He finally does lose his 2 chameleons, but he gets onto the mill and manages to almost... He is going to destroy it. He got the snake down to 1 HP, managing to kill the second. That was a very good trade for Zon. You look at the dent in that army graph. And the fact that the Eel lost 3 farms on this mill. Right, so it looks like Zon wants to go in. He's only got 1 chameleon here at the moment. The other one's coming in. And now, he's microing his chameleons pretty well. He's looking for a flank. Looking for an opportunity to get around the side. He's bypassing the moles entirely. Squirrel can deal with chameleons fairly well. The chameleons get held up on the moles. They don't really get much done. While the squirrels just take 3 shots at them. And they burst them down in just a couple of volleys. Eel, surprisingly, is going to hold this. With the commander going down, he's able to get a lot of value out of his snakes. But he's been hemorrhaging unit. He loses 2 farms, although admittedly they were farms that were about to fallow anyway, so it's not that bad. And now he's just trying to mass mold. He sold the snakes, which I think is a pretty good idea. Thing is Zon gonna give him enough time to muster this force? This is kind of Eel's last resort. Now, he is only 1 farm behind Zon at the moment, but he's been taking knocks this entire game. He lost Warrens in that fight. He did sell the Snake Warren, he didn't lose them. Okay, Zon's coming in, looking to finish off. And, oh, the lack of snakes is really affecting the chameleon game here. Chameleons are just able to get right in and squash all the moles. And Zon is going to take game 1. It was just all came from the initial fight where Zon was going to move into Eel's high ground expansion. Eel had to respond, and in that response he just completely got obliterated. We really should have seen maybe more defenses come out of him if he was going to go so hard on economy, especially given that the rush distances were so small. But that's all in the past. And now Eel is forgoing his tier 3. Going with Squirrel, Lizard, Mole, Skunk, Snake, Balloon. It's I don't know how well Squirrel, Lizard, Mole gets on. Squirrel, Lizard works well and Squirrel, Mole works well. I don't have much experience with squirrel, lizard, mole, but we did just come out of a meta where it was a serious threat. Haru, in particular, I remember using it a lot. But it's interesting that neither player was going for any tier 3. Oh, an eel. What did... Zon has scouted a farm being put down here. He's going to scout these double warrens. How quickly can he respond? Because he didn't scout this until the warrens were built. I think Eel should be moving, should be rallying those squirrels. 2 squirrels would be enough to kill this corner pig at least. But now, I've learnt that maybe I can't judge too harshly for misplays. Judge not lest ye be judged. People who live in glass houses, all of that. Holy hell, Leptis and Coco Lovzander. Cocklovzander. Thank you for the follows. Big 98 need to really get on the lookout for this 100 follower thing. Oh, and Zon nearly lost his entire army there as he rallied in, losing his commander. Although it's possible, it's unlikely he would have been able to win that fight. Even that Eel would have been able to micro. The 3 squirrel difference wouldn't have mattered. But it is going to matter here, where both players can micro. That advantage snowballing. Eel going to have to sell this forward mole one he placed, and hope he can hold. Zon isn't going to push his luck though, he's just going to take the victory. So, just as I thought Zon was about to lose all his squirrels, turns out Eel is going to lose them instead. Now Zon feels safe going for his tier 2. I've only just noticed this hidden base in the bottom, which Eel has managed to put 2 farms on. Zon hasn't scouted it. But it's only a matter of time before he starts getting suspicious. After all, if you keep scouting your opponent's base, you don't see them expand. And also you don't see any like large tech upgrades come out, like a tier 3 or several tier 2s, then you know that they've got food somewhere. I think Eel possibly... No, I was going to say maybe he wants to be greedier, but he's already 2 farms up on Zon. I feel like this is probably good enough. And Zon probably isn't going to scout... Probably isn't going to assume that this means there's a hidden base, because Eel's natural expansion would be here. Eel is doing a very good impression of someone who's been boxed in. Okay, so Zon is setting up his chameleons, forward position. He's got his chameleons on the low ground, his squirrels on the high ground. I'm wondering how well this will sync up. Okay, the chameleons are coming in. A lot of hits, a bit of hits on the mines, but the squirrels picking off so much in this retreat. Eel needed to just turn and take that fight, but he was so scared of those chameleons, he just daren't. But look at all the free damage Zon got done there, just chasing Eel's army. He picked off a skunk, he picked off God knows how many squirrels and lizards, and Eel looks like he wants to go back in for seconds. Wait for your snakes at least. Oh, man, Zon going up to 4 cams is going to just destroy this squirrel lizard push. Squirrel, lizard, skunk. The 4 chameleons are just going to tear through that. And 21 squirrels aren't going to do too shabby either. Eel brings in his lizards to try and mine clear, but He just lost 6 lizards there to get a mine. That was not worth it, no matter how you slice it. Because obviously none of the lizards could get away. Alright, here comes Zon. Chameleons don't do too well on Warrens. 3 of them going down is pretty big. If Eel can get another skunk, but he can't, he's supply blocked on everything. He just put a farm down on his hidden base. Zon's got reinforcements coming all the way. He just needs something to deal with this massive squirrels. But he just doesn't have time to build up his army. It looks like Zon's going to take this. Looks like Zon's going to knock out the developer. Eel's got his last hope, which is the mole push. The mole's stabbing in the back. Can Zon see this? No. But, I mean, these moles have got a long way to go. We've got to get up here, kill this mill, and then this mill. Although, maybe Eel can do this. As, I don't know, he's not got another base. But, he is going to outpace these squirrels. Oh, but between the chameleons were left behind. And the pigs shooting at the moles. Eel's not going to take it. If he'd had a spare mill, it still might not have been enough. After all, he was losing most of his moles just getting that 1 mill. Because Zon had quite intelligently left his chameleons at home to defend the base. And not taken his, and only moved his squirrels out to destroy Eel's last remaining mill. Sorry, I'm stuttering a bit over my words. I literally didn't sleep at all last night. Alright, so we got Joep and Coloru. Yoop and Coloru. I'm looking forward to this. Joep, another player I killed. The only other player I killed. Really good player. Surprised I did it. But he plays a style that's sort of out of date. It's very fox heavy. In a time when foxes are not the powerhouse they once were. You have to be very careful with foxes, as I learnt to my own dismay against Haru, where despite having good micro all game and bringing Haru to the brink of death, one move forward with my fox just completely lost it, and there was no recovering from there. But these two do have a rivalry regarding foxes. They fight for the unofficial title of Star Fox, which is, I just realised, a reference to Star Fox. But on the camel board, Joep, the camel board ranking system that Coloru created, Yoop that rhymes with soup, actually has a special role called Star Fox. Due to their best of 9. They played a best of 9 for the title, where they had to go Fox each game. I believe I streamed it. I think I casted it. Coloru lost quite badly. Fox may not be what it was, but Yoop that rhymes with soup is possibly still one of the best Fox players around. He hasn't given up on it ever since it was, he's been playing it ever since it was good. Now Coloru going for an interesting strategy here, going for a 6-farm double, selling his farms, and it looks like it's gonna work. Yoop hasn't scouted it. He's put his own ones down, but he's gone for 8 farms first. And this rush distance is so small. Okay, he's going to put down turrets. That makes sense. I think that might be enough to hold Coloru off. Coloru needs a big enough mass of squirrels to gun these down. But that means Coloru has to delay his push. If it wasn't for Youps that rhymes with Soup's commander, he would be able to just stand on the high ground. But Archimedes is going to be giving those turrets high ground vision. Now Coloru does have the ferrets in his deck, so he can deal with machine guns very well. He's got the perfect counter. Oh, and speaking of, Yoop that rhymes with Soup sells them. Do I choose? Well, I'm always going to be a bit biased to the one who chooses Archimedes. But I think I'm relatively unbiased in this matter. Coloru has got... Both players have rather unique styles. Yoop has one style that he sticks to, and he doesn't break it no matter what the meta is. He always just does his best to make his style work, his poking plays work. I'd talk more about it, but Yoop coming in with just a sheer mass of squirrels, overwhelming Coloru, who's been trying to go for ferrets and expansions. Both players now have ferrets, but Coloru has no squirrels. And ferrets can't hold back an army of squirrels by themselves. They're not skunks or chameleons. They're ferrets. And ferrets are not that good in a straight fight. Coloru taking perhaps critical damage here. He does manage to get out some squirrels at last, but he's down to just 3 farms on his main base. Oh, and he might be losing... No, he has time to sell it. If he can pick off a ferret, he might be in a slightly better position, but... it's not looking good for Coloru. He's far behind in squirrel count, and that's going to matter more in this ferret v ferret game. He already lost the Warren. He's doing what he can to pick off squirrels, but so many squirrels, low health. Coloru's just going to throw it in town. Unfortunately, we didn't get to see any fox. Alright. Game 2. So as I was speaking about styles, Yoop that rhymes with Soup over here on the right has his fox poking style that he sticks to no matter what the meta is actually like. Whereas Coloru just does his own thing really. And I think that's displayed perfectly here with mole, skunk, chameleon, snake, wolf, mine. No squirrels, no lizards, no pigeons. Mole as his only tier 1. I've noticed that the only unit he has that can shoot up at all is snakes. So he's going to be very vulnerable to Mass Falcon if Yoop ever sniffs that out. Now, Coloru has maybe lost a bit of honour here by not taking Fox. But I think he's relinquished his claim on the title of Star Fox for now. Now he's just trying to win. He's just trying to not get sent to the depths of hell. Coloru's been in the underworld a while. And he's been steadily climbing up. He put an end to Aralu's streak, I believe. He's now trying to get his own streak started. Falcons are a great pick, just generally. They're very, they're quite strong. I still don't know how to make Discord notifications not appear on stream. But whatever. Now you will know the terrible secret that gentleman is going AFK for a few minutes. So if you have something to say about him, say it now. Or forever hold your peace. Okay, so Kolaru getting out all these mines to make sure that he can safely... He can't be punished for going for this quick tier 2. The tier 2 from Kolaru will be good if he gets all of it up. Chameleon and Skunk, some people feel like they don't synergize too well. I actually think they kind of do. Skunk gives you very broad coverage, whereas Chameleon's is focus, one target damage. And with the Chameleons in his deck, Kolaru basically doesn't have to worry about the Chameleons from Europe. He can just focus on microing his Skunks. Alright, we're seeing balloons coming up from Europe. I should just call him Eris. That's a much easier name to pronounce. Now, Kolaru is in a bit of bother because he doesn't have much that shoots up. Like we said, he's going to have to go for another set of snakes, but the problem with massing snakes is that snakes tend to have pathing issues, so you really want as few of them as possible. Oh, and this is a bold move, selling the Chameleons to go for a wolf. Now, selling the Chameleons works out fairly well because your opponent can't actually see just by looking at your army that the Chameleons have been sold. So as long as this tier 2 one goes up, Europe isn't going to know that the units themselves aren't built. What's he going to see here though? He sees the building tier 2 Warren, but that's it. He doesn't know that anything's been sold. Now if Kolaru gets out this wolf, the whole nature of this game changes. He still hasn't scouted it. He's focusing on the farms. He did not expect the tier 3 switch. But the wolf is paid for. Europe has a pretty big army. Oh, what did... No, Europe still didn't scout it. Europe has a pretty big army and a much better economy. And finally he scouts the wolf, but his commander dies, which is going to give it an extra 10 seconds or so as he respawns. So I feel like this wolf is going to get out. It's already 3/4 of the way there. But with all these falcons, I think Europe's managed to figure out that Kolaru doesn't have a lot that can shoot up. But wolf buff snakes, they're not nothing. They're tankier than falcons and they deal damage about as fast. And they move quicker. Now Kolaru can start catching up on economy. I'm not sure who's favoured at this point. Europe is going to want to go for his own tier 3. With the 3 balloons, Kolaru isn't going to want to push in, but he doesn't have to. He's got the wolf, he can just eco up. In fact, I'm wondering if Europe does want to go for his own tier 3, as Fox kind of very much struggles against wolf and snake. It's going to be very easy to tag the fox with the wolf speed buff. And if the snakes hit the fox once, it's basically as good as dead. Okay, it looks like Kolaru wants to move in. If he can find a way to fight outside of this balloon... Ooh! Instantly, oh wow, the balloons do so much work, just instantly killing the commander. The wolf isn't being shot at yet, but now it is. Oh. What happened to Kolaru's commander there? He got hit by the balloons. Did he get hit by the falcons as well? Now, he actually traded relatively evenly, but it's going to take him so long to rebuild. And losing that fox is a major blow. He might be able to hold, though. And he just needs to get these falcons, and he does. But Kolaru's losing warrens. It's going to take him much longer than Europe to rebuild his army, as Europe has tier 1, whereas Kolaru's only on tier 2. But still, a big blow to Kolaru, I feel. But he's recovering better than Europe is. Europe is supply blocked on most of his army. He's going very heavily into squirrels, which I feel is a mistake. Skunks and chameleons should go through that many squirrels pretty well. And Kolaru even has his third base ready to go. The balloons have been sold. Okay, Europe gets the first expansion onto his third base. This game is still... could go either way. Kolaru does have the army advantage, although a fair amount of that is in mines. Oh, and Europe going much greedier than Kolaru is at the moment, although he has to. With these farms all being wolf buff means Kolaru is basically a full 8 farms ahead, but he is starting to fallow. So he is going to have to get farms up here. But if he secures this mill, then he's got this one secured as well, which means in a starvation game, Europe is going to be the one hard pressed. Now, of course, he's had to abandon this side because of the water, but the mill doesn't really matter. The mill's basically used up anyway. What matters are all the warrens. Losing all those tier 2 warrens would be a big blow. Europe could just send his falcons in, although that would make him vulnerable to push in. Speaking of push in, Kolaru's, as he goes for the cabin, gets hit from the back. He needs to spread out these poison tags on the falcons. He doesn't quite get enough. I was too busy trying to talk. I didn't really get my sentences right. He's still got a squirrel though, and there's only a couple of falcons left. All the squirrels die on the mines. Kolaru just needs to stall long enough. But he is supply blocked on his wolf. That's the second time a wolf has died. And now Kolaru really feeling the issues of having no tier 1. This faster rebuild time from Europe is allowing him to mass squirrels up so much faster. He's got such a bigger army so much quicker. And all these squirrels are making it very hard to target these falcons. Kolaru losing his mill. He's now only on 1 farm, and it's going to fallow out quickly as it's being buffed by the wolf. He's doing a lot of damage to Europe with these few units. Sell the wolf, Kolaru! Come on! Good man. Now, I think he'd be better off just going for the campfire, because otherwise he's going to have to spend an extra 60 food on the mill. But this is not a good spot for Kolaru anymore. Skunk Chameleon is going to be good against Mass Squirrel, but not against... But 2 of each isn't going to be able to take 30. He's trying, bless him. And he's actually not doing too bad, but he also needs to focus his falcons down. And he can't micro all of them at once. And that's going to be GG. Eris takes game 2. And with a 2-0 victory, knocks Kolaru down into the abyss, and proceeds to climb out of the underworld. Hey, Tickle Bandit, thank you for the raid. Hello everybody, we've got quite a lot of viewers. Sorry I haven't been responding or talking to chat as much. I haven't really had the chance. Been very, very busy. Now, so winners of match 1 and 2. So we're going to be seeing Zon versus Yup. I didn't get any sleep last night, Pancakes. Did it sound sarcastic? Sorry. That's my natural Englishness coming through. I got to bed, I just didn't sleep in it. And I'm pretty sure the milk in my big flask of hot chocolate is starting to spoil. It's going a little bit sour. Alright. So Eel versus Zon. Zon won. Yerp versus Kolaru. Yerp won. We saw a lot less foxes than I wanted to see. Maybe that will change here. But Zon versus Yerp. Now, I don't think Zon has such a defined style as Yerp. That could play into his advantage. It's much harder to counterpick, but I feel Yerp's gonna just go with what he likes anyway, with a fox, some sort of other poking unit, actually being a lot more well-rounded in his decks with Squirrel, Lizard, Falcon, Chameleon, Fox, Mine. I think Zon is wondering. Zon knows he's going to have to come up against a fox. I imagine he's wondering whether he takes a tier 3. Alright, so here we go. Zon versus Yup. Yoop. Yoop that rhymes with soup. So, looking at the decks, it's uncharacteristically, Yoop not taking snakes or ferrets means he's not looking for pokes much in the early to mid game. He's really just basing it around surviving. I feel like Falcon Chameleon is the pairing of units you take when you just want to be safe. You don't really know what to expect, but you just want to make sure that you've probably got a pretty good response to basically everything that could come up. Now, Zon hasn't gone as hot anti-fox as I imagined he would. Squirrel, Lizard, Pigeon, Ferret, Falcon, Balloon. The Balloon is anti-fox and the Lizards are anti-fox, but Ferret and Falcon sort of walk right into a fox's hands. Of course, you don't really need that much dedicated anti-fox tech when a massive blob of squirrels will do the job just as well. So, both players expanding pretty early. Zon could be getting some run-bys done with these lizards. Especially as Yerp has gone for chameleons. Although, there's not really an easy way into Zon Yoop's base. Ugh. But he does have multiple angles of attack on this mill. He can come around here, he can go over the hill, or he can go all the way around here to hit at the warrens or the farms on this mill. But Yoop with the double chameleon means he's going to be ahead, well, not ahead in army, so much as he is. His army currently counters Zon's army very well. Ferrets don't do too well against cams. Lizards get shredded by chameleons. Squirrels can take chameleons if they're in large enough numbers, but they need... But currently, 9 is not a large enough number. Alright, Zon... You playing weird with his chameleons. Leaving them really far out away from his army. He does get a good amount of work done with them, but he does lose a chameleon, so I think Zon will probably take the trade. Zon is going to be looking to do as much poking damage as he can. Okay, the chameleons, the lizard for lizard trade worked pretty well for Zon, but once the chameleons get involved, it becomes very much in Yoop's favor. And now, on the retreat, he's losing his ferrets. So, oh, but he burst down that chameleon pretty quickly. Nine squirrels apparently is enough to burst down a chameleon. Now, I feel like he can't... I feel like he doesn't have the army to poke. Because if Yoop takes a straight engagement, Yoop wins. And the way you deal with being poked is you force a straight engagement. And now, Zon's losing another tier 2 on the retreat. His second tier 2 gets caught out. He's behind in farms already. I don't feel like Zon comes back from this. He's trying, he's not giving up, but he's losing farms. He's only got a few warrens to his name. And this chameleon is just wrecking shop. And Zon throws in the towel. Alright. 1-0 to Yoop. Yoop that rhymes with soup. I keep mispronouncing his name and it really bothers me. Will we see any alterations to the deck? Imagine we'll see some. Oh, Yoop that rhymes with soup is getting a phone call that he has to take, so we're going to have to wait a bit. It is a best of 3 though. I don't think we'll have to wait that long. Hopefully we won't. Alright guys, so how you been? Feel very dead. Oh, Eel, I know what you feel. I know what you're talking about. I was streaming last night, already tired. I said I'd have to end the stream early so I could go to bed. And then, rather than end the stream early, I played for 4 hours. And then I said I wouldn't. I said I had to go to bed. I went to bed and could get to sleep. And at something like 5 in the morning, I started playing Tooth and Tail, and that took me through all the way till 10 o'clock in the morning. Then, rather than sleep, I went out to watch rugby. England beat Wales. Yay. And so now I'm very much exhausted. And my mouth kind of just goes blah, 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 because I can't really... I'm slurring a lot of my words and stopping and starting sentences. because my brain can't really keep up with my mouth. Anyway, seeing a big change in Yoop's deck. Squirrel, Toad, Falcon, Chameleon, Owl, Fox. That's a very different deck. Now, Toads, he did see Lizards come out last round, so it's not too unreasonable. And Toads, I'm warming up a bit to Toads, if you get a big mass of them. They still can do quite a bit of clear out damage. It's just more, you need more like, say, 9 or 12 than the just 3 or 6 you needed before. Now the Owl Fox is interesting. They pair up very well together. Fox and Owl complement each other's weaknesses very well. The sheer massive bodies provided by the Owl gives the Fox a lot of stuff to hide behind, as well as being quite good at dealing with mass tier 1. But you also don't have to. The Owl is relatively light on the micro required, which frees up your time for microing the Fox. Now, I'd say it's a fairly balanced map. Both players have a safe mill, but then they're going to have to start expanding towards each other. It's almost symmetrical, really. I think perhaps it favours Yoop slightly more because he's got easier access to this high ground. If there was a staircase here, it'd be perfectly balanced as all things should be, but Zon's still got a ways up. If Zon just stays here, not to mention he can just put his balloon up and he's got vision on it. So I don't think it would hurt him too much. And I think this is the type of game where Zon might regret having no tier 3. With the large rush distances and the safe expansion, I can see neither player really wanting to risk an attack. I imagine we're going to get up to some serious death balls. Okay, Zon's trying to get something done with these 3 lizards. But Yup scouts it out. I'm still calling him Yoop, it's Yoop. Yoop. Yoop that rhymes with soup. Anyway, given the sheer length of this map, I'm not entirely sure how useful the ferret poke will be. This is something Yoop's been doing all game, all tournament, well, all evening I should say, where he micros his chameleons out really far forward to try and get an early pick-off. He's really playing with the chameleon traps, and I like seeing it. A lot of people, myself included, will just leave the chameleons with their army because they're scared of what happens if they move them out. The chameleons are currently over here though, and I'm not really sure why. I guess so they can come in behind if Zon moves in. Okay, speaking of Zon moving in, he's got a slightly bigger army. Looks like he wants to do that now. Oh, the commander goes down for Yoop. The chameleon's right behind Zon's forces, but with the 2 falcons there, gets cleared up pretty well. And Zon wasn't able to make as much of that commander death as you thought he would. Although, with the armies so big, it kind of makes sense. The micro wasn't really too intensive there. It was mainly handled by itself, but these toads are getting in. They're doing quite a bit of damage. Well, they get a few squirrels. That might be enough though, as it keeps the falcon alive. The falcon not having to deal with a mass of tier 1, especially squirrels, is always going to be nice. Now this Chameleon is really weak. It's healing up though, so it's not going to be weak for long. Chameleons get the triple regen that all reptiles get, and it's nearly at full health. Okay, lizards coming in now that the toads are absent. And these falcons getting blasted, as well as the one picked off on retreat, is a big blow to you. Zon might be able to take this. He's got the ferrets, so now that he's ahead in army, he can really leverage that advantage into picking off farms, units and warrens from a safe distance. But I don't think he needs a safe distance at this point. He can just move in. In fact, he's just focusing the mill. And it's looking like it's going to work. He gets the mill, knocks Yoop into starvation as his final farm fallows. All Zon needs to do now is just stay here and just rally all his units back home and just wait. This is the second game. It's currently 1-0 to Yoop, but it looks like Zon's about to even it up. We did Zon versus Eel, and then we did Yoop versus Coloru. Now we were on the winners of both playing together. Zon versus Yoop, and it looks like we're about to hit 1-1. Yoop just about manages to not starve, but he is very far behind in economy. Like, Zon has nothing to worry about really from this position. He's just getting a mass of falcons out, knowing that Yoop can't really deal with it. It looks like he's just going to move in and finish the job. But he doesn't really need to. It just depends how careful he wants to be. Okay, but he's moving in now, and he should take this fairly well. I mean, he can just poke this mill down again. And with so many falcons for Zon, the defender's advantage isn't going to be enough. I mean, all things considered, you traded remarkably well with those falcons hiding behind the mill, getting a lot of tanking done for it. But still, it just wasn't enough. And that's going to be 1-1. We're going to the end. Yoop versus Zon. I think Zon is probably the underdog in this fight. Yeah. But, you know, underdogs, they've still got a powerful bite. Oh, and Yoop finally breaking his code, going for the boar instead of the fox. He hasn't actually managed to get the fox out once this evening. But this will be a very unexpected tech switch. Zon is not going to be planning for the boar. Although, so long as he's got falcons in his deck, he's got a solution. But really, that's the only solution. So much of his deck is tier 1 focused. The ferrets don't really count in any sort of counter. The score is currently 1-0. Yep, you did win 2-0 versus Coloru. Cam Skunk. Oh, right, that isn't here. I don't think Cam Skunk is too bad. It's good at dealing with large mobs of tier 1 where Skunk Gas wouldn't be able to cover all of it and Chameleons wouldn't be able to cover all of it. But you've got the early game option of going into Chameleons or for the better smaller numbers game, or against lizards, or against enemy chameleons and tier 2. Right. This is not where Zon should have built his moles. These moles are just going to get sniped by the cabin. He's going to lose at least 2 mole. He's going to lose at least 1 mole, probably 2. And if he just built it here, out of range, and moved them all in together, he would be fine. Well, he's got the campfire, and it is a pretty safe campfire, so no reason not to take it. Map-wise, though, he is a bit pressed for... Well, actually, he's not. I was going to say he's a bit pressed for expansions, but if you look at Youp's next expansion, he's got to go quite a way out over this bank. That's about the same distance as Zon used to go. And then all of the mills are in this weird triangle shape. So actually, Zon has access to more mills, because this cliff is going to block Youp from this mill, and it's going to be right in front of Zon's high ground. So Youp can't take this mill easily. He can't take this mill easily. Zon can very easily take this mill, and he's got the safe campfire. He's leaving his mole one there. Interesting choice. That's probably going to bugger him up when it comes to reinforcement time, where he's going to be fighting somewhere over here, and his moles are going to have to walk down here, around here, down here, past all these mills, past the cat, and over the water. Like, that's going to be a long reinforcement path, and they're going to be shot at by the pigs. Double Drowsy. Oh yeah, people play this game. I mean, it's not like... It's not hugely popular, but it's got enough to mean you can basically always find a game. Especially if you just put in the Discord that you're looking for one. People usually pop up. It's got enough to sustain itself. And we are seeing new players come in every so often. Every new patch, every new sale, we get a few extra new players. Okay. Youp has dropped the board down. Zon has not scouted it, and it's going to be quite hard for him to do so. He needs to get up here. Zon not responding the way you need to respond to a boar, going for mass squirrel. Oh, this could be bad. Because Zon has probably figured out there's a tier 3 coming, but he's probably expecting it to be Fox. Youp has played the long game by loudly and repeatedly announcing how he will only ever go Fox, and then not actually going Fox. It's going to be very hard for Zon to do anything about this. He's only got 4 falcons, which is as much as Youp. If he had more, maybe he could do something. But the ferrets would be basically useless. The mines are too spread out to really get any focus damage on Butters. And Zon still doesn't know better. He's going to see it here. And he's going to really panic. He needs to go for everything but Butters, which is what he's doing. Actually, he might be able to hold this. He's gotten rid of all the falcons. He's got rid of the squirrels. Zon sends Youp packing. But the boar stays alive. Now, can Zon rebuild quickly enough? I think he's going to sell some squirrels, probably. Yep, selling the squirrels. He's not going to push, is he? Surely not. You're going to push into the ball? Really? Well, apparently. And this does not go nearly as well. He loses all his falcons. I think Zon had it there. If he had just stayed back and built more falcons and chameleons, more tier 2 in general, he'd be in a good spot. But these mass squirrels are actually doing pretty well against the boar. Somehow, Zon is beating the ball back with squirrels, and people gave me shit for saying that squirrels needed a nerf. Zon might take in this. He's getting ahead in army. He's ahead in eco with thanks to this campfire. It's been pumping out, and now we're getting into the point where third base has come into play, and it's much easier for Zon to take a third. I'm amazed that Zon's managed to hold on, as it's very hard to respond to a blind ball push. But just these ferrets doing so much work. I think Yo might need to just focus Falcons down. Or maybe not. He's getting it now. He's got all the squirrels finally. It looks like he is getting enough value with this ball to bleed Zon dry slowly. But Zon has a better economy at the moment, although these farms are about to start fallowing out, so that will even it up. And losing this one farm with still 3 tufts of wheat on it is a big deal. The boar got fairly low there, but it's now healed up again. And Zon is still trying to... He sells the ferrets. I think that's a good call. The ferrets were basically doing nothing in these fights. If he can get up to 6 falcons, he's in a much, much better spot. But at the moment, he's only going to be on 2. He's actually behind in army value at the moment. He's focusing the boar, which is the wrong thing to do. You want to focus the falcons and the squirrels. That way, if you keep your falcons alive, they will deal with the boar. You've got to kill the falcons and the squirrels. Kill everything that can shoot up. But now it looks like Björk's finally done it. The boar manages to break through. Zon's completely falled out on his eco. His warrens are being destroyed. What a close game. Zon holding that boar push so well, but just not able to keep it up. If he'd had, he was building up to 6 falcons. If he'd just had enough time to get them out. If he'd maybe sold those ferrets earlier. Ah, but GG. Zon making that very close. Now. Time for me to copy over some replays. We've got the Adventures of Blue Coon to watch. So, leaving the underworld for now. Congratulations to all our players. But now we head into the Otherworld to watch Blue Coon. Ah, right. Okay, so it's going to be Blue Coon versus Jet, then Warpgates and Weasel, and then Srownel. Unfortunately, Srownel's up at the top. And I still have yet to sort out my replay folder. My steadily messier and messier replay folder. But let's see how Blue Coon does. He's still on 3 lives. I wasn't able to take a life off him. So let's see how he does against Jet Erickson. Squirrel, Lizard, Falcon, Chameleon, Wolf, Mine. Against Squirrel, Pigeon, Mole, Falcon, Chameleon, Boar. So Jet going for sort of a pretty meta this guy build. Only with chameleons instead of skunks. It's Blue Coon. Blue Coon's been rocking this wolf loadout for most of the tournament. It's quite powerful. Usually when I run it, I take out the mines to put in snakes. But you don't really need them, and having the extra defense is going to be pretty useful. Both Falcons and Chameleons are good on their own. They're good, solid, all-rounder type units with just good stats. And with the wolf buff, they become monstrous. Is there a ranking system? There's two ranking systems. There's the in-game ranking system, and there's the camel board, which Coloru created. That tracks your ranked progress on a week-by-week basis, season basis, and an overall basis. That's a very disgusting hot chocolate. Alright, so map-wise, Jet Erickson has to go very far out to get his expansion, compared to Blue Coon's nice, safe pocket. But if Jet Erickson can secure this mill, he basically guarantees that he's got this third one. Whereas Blue Coon is going to have to go really far out for his third. So, close second but distant third for Blue. Distant second but close third for Jet. So, Jet probably wants to take this game long. It's just that his deck doesn't really favour that approach. Not against the Wolf, anyway. Yeah, I'm not really sure what went wrong with it. But there was a load of powder at the bottom. And it was getting really sour. I'm pretty sure the milk was spoiling in it. Yeah, it was very not nice. Alright, so this chameleon. Jet moves his chameleon forward and instantly loses it. Not really what you want to be doing. That was a suboptimal play from Jet Erickson there. And that might give Blue Coon Moon time to push in. Don't think he... I mean, moles are much weaker on defense than they are on attack. For reasons that I'm not really quite sure of, but I think it's mainly to do with the fact that when you're attacking moles, they don't get to use their ridiculous Warren crit to burst down Warrens that you're hiding behind, and you get the initiative. By getting the first shot off, you make those moles have a little less health, as well as the fact that the moles and squirrels aren't going to be separated so well as if the squirrel mole combo was pushing into you. Well, you can't say if he had ferrets, if he had this, if he had that. I mean, we don't know for sure that it is. Against these chameleons and squirrel mole, it's perfectly possible that ferrets wouldn't be able to do it. Alright, Jet has gone far greedier than Blue Coon, going for an extra fleet of farms. And Blue Coon wants to move in with it. These chameleons really struggling to find tiles. Looking a bit snaky. And now, Blue Coon, I don't think he's going to be able to take this fight. Jet holds very comfortably. And he holds on a bigger economy, so that's really moved Jet ahead. Just those chameleons for Bluecoon just didn't get in. They just walked down and then walked back up. He didn't actually just shoot. Well, not shoot, I mean stand and fight, smack. Whatever it is chameleons do. Club, I suppose. Right, so third bases are coming out now. Jet doesn't really want to go for his tier 3 yet, although I think he'd be safe to do so. He's going for Falcons, which will burst through the chameleons quicker, but I don't think he needs them. I think rather than go for Falcons, he'd be better off just going for the Boar. As the Falcons are going to go down very quickly to this mass squirrel. I think what Bluecoon wants to do, since he's behind, he either wants to take this base and farm up, or he wants to go for a wolf. And it looks like he's trying to do that now. No, reconsiders it and goes for chameleons instead. Going for 6 cams. Does Bluecoon does know there's a base down here. Whereas Jet doesn't. I'm wondering why Bluecoon hasn't gone for it. Is he aware of... He must be aware of Jet's base. Yes, he is. He knows he's falling behind in economy. I think Bluecoon thinks he's further behind than he really is, which is ironically moving him further and further behind. It looks like he just doesn't feel safe expanding. Or maybe he just wants to finish it with this base. Now Jet Ericsson's going for extra Falcons. This is becoming dangerous. Bluecoon needs to decide whether to move in or not. He can't just dilly-dally in range of the squirrels. But Jet Ericsson getting up to a dangerous Falcon count. 4 is a big number for Falcons. 6 is where you start to instantly lose high-tier units. And now the chameleons are coming in. They don't get caught on the warrens, but with these moles... Oh, just catching them out. It looks like Jet's going to take a life off Bluecoon. Don't think there's anything Bluecoon can do here. Those chameleons just did not attack well. All those chameleons for Bluecoon were basically wasted. I think this base is safe. It's too far away for Jet Ericsson to actually attack. If Jet Ericsson rallies his 6 Falcons down here, all you do is move in. Because that's a huge amount of army that Jet Ericsson is sacrificing. And it's a long way back. Well, Bluecoon not giving up yet, but... I feel like his surrender is really only a formality at this point. Jet Ericsson is going to be able to take it. Alright, Bluecoon doing a bit of run around with the lists, but too little too late, as there are no farms left on this mill. He might be able to distract the army. Maybe that's what he's going for. But Jet isn't that silly. He knows he doesn't have to leave. And the pathing on these lizards coming back is going to split. So he's losing... Oh, actually, he might get a warren. These 2 lizards pathing in the stupidest way. That would actually have been Blue Coon's moment if he could have pushed in right as Jet was moving down here. That might have been enough space to actually get some damage done, but probably not with an army half the size of Jet's. Weirdly, Blue Coon is pretty even on economy, despite never going for a third mill, because these farms, he took them so late that they haven't fallowed. Okay. So Jet looks like he wants to move in. He's got a big enough army to finish this, surely. These mines aren't going to do that much. In fact, the mines do nothing. And now Blue Coon's just losing warrants here. I think he made a mistake there by not engaging. He's got to engage here. He can't afford to just give up this mill. Well, actually he can. It's completely followed out now, so. But I think he's got to pull the trigger. He's just bleeding off units. But if you're Blue Coon here, what do you even shoot? So many chameleons, so many falcons, so much of everything. His army was just swallowed up by a giant green blob, and Jet takes the first game. Alright, Blue Coon versus Jet, game 2. Come on, Blue Coon. Yeah, he'd lost quite a while ago. I mean, it would have taken a huge mistake by Jet Erickson to let Blue Coon back in. Blue Coon would have to pick off so many units for free. I mean, stranger stuff has happened, but it was not likely. So both players sticking with the same loadout. We're seeing another fairly balanced map. Jet able to expand to these 2 mills quite easily. Blue Coon having a much more varied pool to choose from. But I think it's balanced enough. I think once you've got up to 3 mills, like that's enough to have achieved something. You can't really say, oh, the map screwed me if it gave you like 2 easy mills to take. Because by the 3rd mill, you should be able to make a push out onto the map. Oh, hello, Blue Coon. You're experiencing the pain that I was feeling recently, where we pick through your play with a fine-tooth comb and bring to light all your insecurities and mistakes and have a good old laugh about them. Alright, so Blue Coon's actually been playing this fairly well. It was just that first attack worked so horribly against him, there was no way coming back. Now Jet Erickson being the expander again, just like the last game, and expanding out very aggressively. He's trying to secure a lot of the map for himself. If he takes this mill and secures it, he basically guarantees this mill. Even if he doesn't take it, Jet can't. Same with this, Blue Coon can't. Same with this campfire. Not quite with this mill, but it is a lot riskier to take. Now, is Blue Coon going to move into this? Because we've seen how chameleons do on warrens. But they might have come off the warrens enough for Blue Coon to make this work. But he's focusing the mole. You don't focus the moles, you focus the squirrels. But it's a mistake so many people make. It just feels so natural to target the moles. But that's another bad attack for Blue Coon. I think he'd be better off, if he wants to attack like this, he'd be better off going with skunks rather than chameleons, so he can put gas on the warrens. Or even go for moles. That way he can burst through the warrens so much quicker. Okay, he does get one warren down, but he loses both his chameleons. He gets a second warren down, but he loses all his squirrels. Jet can just push, and I'm kind of surprised he isn't. I would have thought Jet would be really aggressive here. Moles and ferrets would be really good against this strategy from Jet to expand very far forward. Yeah, I've got to say that. Chameleons, like this strategy of Jet really hurts the chameleons. Because they've got the warrens and moles to do so much tanking that chameleons can't actually hit any of the squirrels, which is what they're good at killing. But Blue Coon is so far behind now, he's going to have to do something really impressive. He's not expanding still, and we're hitting the 5-minute mark, so I think we're about to go to a one base all-in type of game. But why doesn't Blue Coon just like micro his chameleons up here and get some farms killed? Maybe he's going to do that with his lizards? I think Blue Coon needs to, like this map, especially with the way Jet Ericsson's expanded, it's very easy to punish him by just going around with a few units. I don't think Blue Coon's making the right choice by trying to go through. Oh! Now, Jet Ericsson comes in while the lizards are away. He is getting some serious warren damage done. The moles on those warrens are pretty big, but all those squirrels alive for Blue Coon. Now, Blue Coon might be able to get some serious damage done on the counterattack. He's already got 2 warrens. He's already got the moles. Which does he go for? Does he go for the farms or the warrens? He's going for the warrens. I think that's the right choice. It doesn't matter how much economy Jet Ericsson has if he can't spend it on anything. Oh, but the chameleon's coming up. The chameleon dies just as quickly. Going for the mole warrens is good, and Blue Coon takes it. A fantastic counterattack by Blue Coon when we all looked out of it. Oh, we're really seeing the power of defender's advantage on both cases here. But Blue Coon with that short rush distance due to Jet's aggressive expansion. Oh. And Blue Coon survives on 2 lives, going up to... Who is it now? Is it Weasel or Warp Gates? I actually can't remember. I think it's Warp Gates. Is there somewhere I can check? Yeah, having the lizards out of that early fight actually really worked out well for Blue Coon. Says Duel 8. Oh, so it does. My bad. Alright, Blue Coon versus Cold Warp Gates. Blue Coon going with the same deck. Squirrel, Lizard, Falcon, Chameleon, Wolf, Mine. Against Squirrel, Pigeon, Falcon, Chameleon, Boar, Mine. This is very similar to the deck that Jet was just running from Cold Warp Gates. So, looking at the bases, I think Blue Coon is going to be pretty happy with this map. Having both of these expansions, as well as this one on the low ground. As opposed to Cold, he's got to either go up here or down here. He's got to really stretch himself thin. So I wonder who's going to make the first move here. Cold Warp Gate's going for a tier 2 rush. I think it's pretty safe to do that on a rush. I mean, tier 2 first are pretty safe anyway, but on a map this large, it's going to be very hard for Blue Coon to punish. Okay, so both players expanding. Blue Coon going for more tier 1 in response to the tier 2 from Cold. I don't feel like his Squirrel Lizard comp will do too well at the moment against these double chameleons. But it doesn't look like Cold Warp Gates wants to push in just yet anyway. So Cold Warp Gate's mining up this area. It's pretty good. It's the main way into his base. If Blue Coon doesn't come over this minefield, he's going to have to cross the water, and that's going to really slow him down, make him very vulnerable. And something I didn't really take into account when looking at this map was how easily Cold Warp Gates can take this campfire. Ooh, and we're seeing a wolf come out from Blue Coon very early. Hidden right in the corner, and he's on basically even farms and even army, so this is a good time to rush. Well, not really rush, but to go for it. If I was either one of these players, I'd probably bring my lizards, some units down, or lizards or cams down here, pick off that cabin, take the campfire. I don't think it's going to be scouted too much, and it's not going to be... It doesn't put me out too much to attack it, but it puts out my opponent a lot to destroy the campfire once it's up. I think maybe, yeah, that's something I didn't think of. This cabin could be kept alive deliberately as anti-lizard run-bys, although I think just putting a few mines down here would do that perfectly well. Speaking of lizard run-bys and mines, there were a couple of mines there, but Blue Coon has enough lizards to tank it, and he gets 3 farms for his trouble. Although he does lose all his lizards. 9 lizards for 3 farms, though. That's a fair trade. You take that any day of the week. The only problem would be if Cold Warp Gates pushed in, but there's no way he can do that. The rush distance isn't long, but it is awkward. He'd have to curve back on himself, come down, then go across, and then up. By that time, the lizards would all be rebuilt. Okay, so Blue Coon has his wolf out. It never got scouted by Cold. Nor did the boar ever get scouted by Blue. Cold Warp Gates now knows about the boar. The wolf boar loadout isn't something I've really seen too often. I'm interested to see how it goes. I imagine it's going to depend on how much tier 2 Blue Coon has. Because tier 1, wolf buff tier 1 still has the same amount of health, still gets burnt alive just as easily by the boar. But these falcons and chameleons are really going to... They're going to blast through the boar's health very quickly with a wolf buff on them. They already do a lot of damage. Alright, but both players have their tier 2s out, tier 3s out. Both players scout the other player's tier 3. Blue Coon should probably be buffing his warrens to make sure his falcons get out in time. He's doing it now. Okay. He's on 4 falcons. I think that's enough. The army's pretty even. He comes in with a flanking maneuver with his lizards. He guns down the war so quickly. And now all these wolf buff falcons are going to be doing so much work. But all these squirrels, never underestimate the squirrels. But the squirrels finally go down as fresh lizards come up for Blue Coon. And now he's able to just push and push and push. He takes a mine hit, but he can just push on past it. A mine hit isn't that bad if there's no army to punish it. And Blue Coon survives. Another boss. Mishi. I mean, Chip already has to fight this guy. He might be having to fight a second soon. Let's see if Weasel can put another dent in Blue Coon's armor. Blue Coon going with the same deck. Squirrel, Lizard, Falcon, Chameleon, Wolf, Mine. Sizz and Weasel. Squirrel, Pigeon, Ferret, Falcon, Skunk, Badger. That's an interesting loadout that I haven't really seen too much of. Badger Ferret is an interesting one. It's really the ferrets in that deck that's throwing me off, but I guess they're just there, you know, just in case. Because there are some games and some maps where having ferrets can just win you the entire game. How long does it take to find a game? Depends when you search. I think you'll probably find one fairly quickly, though. Especially if people know you're looking. I don't know if anyone's actually playing now, though. They could all be here. There's Doohoo in the game. At the moment, a lot of people... 1414, that means it's searching the largest area it can. Unfortunately, I think you're going to have a lot of people in the TNT community are going to be watching this, at least in the hardcore crowd. Simply because this is quite a big tournament at the moment. I've missed the conversation that's going on in the chat about owls. Owls are bad most of the time. Tell that to Doohoo. Owl is... New lock bases. I mean, I think owls are not too bad. I don't think they're the best, but... considering how weak Badger is at the moment, I think it's pretty fair. Pick Owl. And defenses are actually pretty strong right now. Alright, so both players just farming up at the moment. Sizz and Weasel farming up more. Skunk versus Cam. It usually goes to the Cam, but it depends on the circumstances. It depends where the fight happens, on the terrain. But 1-to-1, a Cam will beat a Skunk quite comfortably. Of course, 1-to-1 fights like that are pretty rare in Tooth and Tail. Okay, I'm waiting for the tier 3 to come out from either player. Blue Coon has the better... The map is very much split by this lake, and Blue Coon has more mills on his side, so Citizen Weasel is going to have to be the aggressor here. Blue Coon is going to be fine to just sit back, I imagine. Is he going to scout this badger? Yes, he is. He hasn't put his own tier 3 down yet, but he should be pretty easily able to handle a badger. With falcons, with lizards, and with a wolf buffing them if you can get it out. Badger at the moment is in kind of a rough spot. It's still viable, but the 5 health nerf it took made it so difficult to actually keep it alive. Okay, badger's paid for. Just has to be built. Ah, but Blue Coon putting down all these mines. Blue Coon knows that he just needs to defend in this position. I'm wondering if Citizen Weasel knows. He doesn't. There's a route up here that he could come. He'd probably catch Blue Coon completely by surprise if he did that. Nah, if a unit's only good, if a unit's only good when your opponent doesn't realise it's on the field, then a unit isn't good. If a unit becomes bad as soon as your opponent knows about it, then a unit is bad. Alright, Citizen Weasel going in the front door rather than the back. I don't know how he's going to deal with all these mines though. The army's fairly even, but he's going to lose so much. Oh, he loses actually very little. Now, he's going to have to really micro this badger carefully. There's a lot of falcons, and he's already losing. He's killed the chameleons, but he lost so much of his army. And I think that's going to be GG right there if Blue Coon chases this down. What do you do in Citizen Weasel's position here? Honestly, I think you might want to sell the falcons. Go for more skunks. Yeah, Badger is so... There's so many viable Badger counters in the meta at the moment. Between mines, falcons, snakes, lizards, squirrels, frankly. I just don't think Badger is actually in a healthy spot. You can still win with it, but it's a lot harder than with other tier 3s. Alright, so Blue Coon's going for his own tier 3. Did Citizen Weasel... No, Citizen Weasel actually did scout that. It looks like Blue Coon's got this game at this point, I'll be honest. Maybe Weasel can make something happen, but it's going to be tough. I think he might be better off trying to get more badgers out. Sell his falcons and try and get up to 2, maybe 3 badgers. Might be the best way he can come back. So what does Citizen Weasel do here? He's bringing his falcons around to try and get something done. He can maybe pick off some farms and some warrens, but I think he's going to lose his falcons with the lizards from Blue Coon. He's going to be able to chase him, especially given that his commander died. Now he's not here to rally his units back. These falcons are dead. Yep, I'm dead. That gives him maybe an opportunity to come in, but the wolf is out now, so the army is going to be so mobile for Blue Coon. And now Citizen Weasel is fighting in the water through a narrow choke point, up a hill, and into 8 farms, and this badger's done for. Okay, so Blue takes another victory. Tier 3 into farms or push would have been better. Scouting. Alright, so that was Blue Coon versus Weasel. Blue Coon versus Strownel. He's still on 2 lives. Is he going to make it all the way to Chip? Or can Strownel take a victory? Strownel, I don't know too much about how he plays, but he's going with Squirrel, Lizard, Mole, Ferret, Owl, Mine. From what I've seen of him, he usually runs chameleons, so this is interesting. The Falcons might have been a bait, but it wasn't enough. Alright, so Blue Coon's sticking with his loadout. He's followed it all the way. It's led him this far. Why change now? Now, Strownel is a really strong player. He doesn't play that much, but he's still really strong. He's one of those players who just doesn't seem to get rust. He's a... what do you call him? A galvanized metal. And he swaps out of the 8 farms into double lizards. I don't think this is going to work though. I think it's too late. And he swaps back into double squirrel. Looking at his deck, I feel like he might... I don't know how his deck is going to do off the top of my head. But I feel like it should be pretty solid. We don't see a lot of Squirrel, Lizard, Mole. It's really more of a last patch type of thing. Okay, so Blue Coon wants to push in, but I don't think he can at the moment. The terrain's a bit awkward here. There's a lot of objects in the way, a lot of choke points created. Now, how is Strownel going to use these ferrets? Because he's got to push up a hill. He needs high ground vision. He's trying to put a mine down. I thought that was his way of getting high ground vision, was to put the mine down, but he sells it as quickly as he places it. Now, what's Strownel going to do here? The army's a bit in his favour. He's not expanded yet, he's just got the campfire, so he wants to play aggressive. I'd expect him to really put some moles down soon, if he wanted to push though, so... Oh, his commander goes down. Is Blue Coon going to be able to push with that? Ferrets do tend to struggle against chameleons, which is why I know Strownel really thinks chameleons are good. Or at least he used to, so unless he's changed his mind, I'm wondering why he's taking a deck that Well, I guess it's only the ferrets that struggle against them. Mines, squirrel, mole, and owl all deal with chameleons nicely. The lizards and the ferrets are a bit weak against them, but you can't really get 6 units that are all good against chameleon. Oh, we've seen the engagement come in. Oh, the chameleon takes a big hit, but it's still just walking through with his buddy, and Strownel just gets destroyed in that fight. His lizards walk straight into the chameleons. You really need to get them to move round, or have, I think moles rather than lizards would have done much better there. Would have been much tankier, allowed for the squirrels to get more shots off on the chameleons. But Blue Coon is really looking like he wants to punish this. And I think ferrets are just the wrong choice for this type of battle. He wasn't able to get any poking done with them, which is what the ferrets excel at. But look at Blue Coon's deck, it's all tier 1 and chameleons. Like it's basically a perfect deck against ferrets. And Blue Coon is just microing his chameleons all the way through into the middle of the army to get these ferrets. Strownel loses his expansion. I think he really would be better off. I don't know if he wants to sell this ferret, because I think he's hoping the ferret will eventually bring him back into the game. He is getting some damage with it, but no, he does sell it. Good. I feel like he didn't have much choice though. Blue Coon, Strownel is on 4 farms because he's got this campfire that Blue Coon actually never scouted. But as these farms fallow, he is falling further and further behind, as he never managed to secure an expansion. Oh, Blue Coon apparently did know about the campfire. He heard it. I suppose it's true. It is weird how you can hear the cabin destroyed sound from all the way across the map. Kind of a giveaway. Not sure why that's the way it works, but it is. Ask Eel, I suppose. So it looks like Strownel isn't gonna... I don't know how Strownel comes back from this. He's definitely behind. He's broadly keeping up with economy. Well, he will be once he gets these 2 farms up, but he's so far behind an army. Now he does have a good defender's advantage here due to the amount of objects in Blue Coon's way. But he gets baited out. Now the lizard's coming in. And these chameleons are just tanking so much damage. I think that's GG. I think Blue Coon is going to get to chip with 2 lives remaining. And actually quite a dominant performance. So, Chip and Mishi, they've got a bit of work cut out for them. They've got to fight this guy, and they've got to fight Blue Coon, both with 2 lives. Oh, but well done, Mishi. Now. We do have some extra games. The Child's Adventures. Now, Child is only on 1 life. So all of these are going to be a best of 1. How far can he get? Remains to be seen. But I'm interested to know, because Child used to be used to watch a stream a lot, but then he moved to a different time zone, and now they don't really sync up. I'll do Child. Alright, so let's see. I almost started with Char versus Strownel. I don't know why that comes first. I guess because 1 comes before 7? I don't know. Alright, so Child versus Jet. It's only 4 games at most. Let's see. Is Child going to be able to make this happen? Now, Child plays very aggressively, but... normally plays very aggressively, but he is actually taking tier 3. He is taking the ball. So, Squirrel, Pigeon, Mole, Falcon, Chameleon, Boar from Jet Erickson. This is what we saw him play against Blue Coon. It's a variation on this board deck with chameleons rather than skunks. And Child doing his own variation with Squirrel, Lizard, Pigeon, Mole, Falcon, Boar. So taking lizards instead of skunks. I think we are learning that in this meta though, this is sort of the skeleton of the best deck. Something along the lines of Squirrel, Pigeon, Mole, Boar. Child is a good player. I just haven't been able to see him play much. The way he usually plays is really, really aggressive. He goes for these huge one-base all-ins. And you'd be amazed how much you can get out of one base. Is he going for chameleons? Yes, he is. It's rare to see him expand this early. I think he thinks that Jet isn't going to expect a hidden base from him. Although that is probably his best bet, because this base that is his expansion, that the game is spawned as his pocket expansion, is right next to Jet's high ground. Oh no, wait a minute, I've got this the wrong way around. Child is the KSR and Jet is Bellafeed. So it's Jet who's taking the expansion, and it's Child who's got the safe high ground expand. I was literally, I'm so used to Jet being... like, they're playing each other's characters. Child usually plays Bellafeed, and Jet usually plays Quartermaster. So it's really messing with my head. But Jet is getting up on farms. Has Child scouted this? He does know that there are 3 farms down there. So I think Child definitely has the map advantage here. He sort of naturally blocks in Jet without really having to spend money on defences or risky expansions. So Jet does manage to get a scout on that. No, he doesn't get a scout on the Boar Warren. Oh, is he going to go back? He goes back, he gets it. Oh my god. That's a big deal. Alright, so ball coming out for Child first. Jet has the Falcons. He does have an answer to this. And Child needs to sell something to prevent his ball being supply blocked. I just don't think 4 Falcons are going to be enough. But maybe with 8 farms, well 16 overall, Jet can... okay, 6 is starting to approach that point, and with 4 chameleons, chameleons could just stand in Boar fire for a while. All day. It's a lot of Falcons coming out for Jet. Child isn't without his own Falcons, though. 4 falcons from Child. Not too bad. I'm surprised he hasn't taken this campfire, just because. Like, it's right there. Okay, so he's not pushing in as soon as the boar comes out. I think that's the right decision here. You can play defensively with the tier 3 as well. Child has only got 1 life. Only the 1. Courtesy of yours truly. Although someone else... I forget who else took a life off him. I don't think you can ever really have too many falcons. Not unless you're up against something like lizards or squirrels. Falcons stack so well. Okay, so income's evened out, but at the moment Jet has a much bigger army, and Jet's going for his own boar. What's Child's plan here? Child isn't that great at late game engagements. Because, like I said, he's a very aggressive player. He usually doesn't get to the late game. One way or another, he either wins or loses his games by the 10-minute mark. And that's usually on, like, 1 base economies. Alright, engagement's happening, and Jet Erickson does have food trapped up in his boar warren at the moment. But these chameleons are doing so much tanking. Okay, but the boar's staying alive for now. Well, no, it's dead. I think Jet might be about to kill Child here. Yep, this is looking pretty bad for Child. Just the sheer mass of falcons. Though really it was the chameleons that did most of the work there. And that boar, I think it was too far back. It needed to be further forward to do more tanking. But the chameleons just killing all those squirrels meant that the falcons just never got shot. But the boar wasn't even killing Jet Erickson's squirrels when it really should have. It should have been able to kill them. And now Child, I mean, he's trying to get some more work done, but it's not likely to happen. Jet has just taken every expansion on the map, and Child surrenders. Jet finally gets a kill, and we don't end this evening without the bosses claiming at least 1 life. I don't know why everyone's having trouble reading this, but Gentleman literally said, "I am not betting against Mishi." That could not have been a clearer statement that he is not betting. Alright, so that's it. That's all the games I've got for tonight. Normally, I would stay afterwards and do some, maybe a bit of ranked. But, as I might have mentioned once or twice, I'm exhausted. And also, I'm pretty sure my throat is bleeding. So, I'm going to call it a night there. If that's alright with you. Thank you for the follows, everybody. We should be having, I will be streaming the Pocketbot Cup tomorrow, as normal. And we should be having the next episode of the 12 Duels on Tuesday. If I'm correct. Yeah, Tuesday on Mishi's stream. And we're getting fairly close to actually the final. Alright. So, we've got Blue Coon and this guy currently waiting on Chip. with 2 lives apiece, and Child joins the Fallen, and Eris is currently leading in the Underworld. How about the Asia one? We'll see if I'm around. I'm not sure how much I have to do. But I do have a driving lesson tomorrow, and I'm not sure how long that will take. But thank you for coming, everybody. Thank you for the follows. Leptis and Koklavokang there. Koklovanda. That is such a difficult name to pronounce. There's way too many letters together in that. Oh, alright, well, so it's a bit shorter than usual, but toodles everybody. Go play some Tooth and Tail.